credit. So before going any further, let me introduce our first guest. She's right now in Salvador, Bahia. Silvana Magda, going to play a little bit of music, and she's going to join in.
Hello. Larry, how are you?
Hey, good to see you.
Nice to see you too.
Hey there. So it's a little later in Brazil than here. Let the people know that who don't know that. And you're looking beautiful as ever.
Thank you, Jesse, for you and for the club. Let me tell you something. I first want to acknowledge all the fan base and the friends and the people who all support our work, and they're here together, following this amazing program you're doing. And congratulations, I'm very happy, we have a long history together.
Yeah, let the people know about like who you are, when you started, what you're doing, because I know you do work in Brazil, you do in the States, you're part of some different programs, you were part of the whole Independence Day. I mean, you do a lot, and so this is your time. Let the world know you as a musician, the whole thing.
Okay, Larry. First, I want to say thanks to all of you who's watching this. It's very important to me to share my experience with this amazing club. Arriving in New York City in 1984, March 1984. And then the month after, April, I got an invitation by Loremil Machado from Saravá Bahia Band to do a show at the SOB's. He knew I do vocal in Brazil, which I started to do vocals combined with the dancing by my mentor, Emilia Biancardi. She the one really put me in the track to do vocals here, which like the popular culture of Brazil. And then 1983, I went to Europe. This was my first experience in doing backup vocal for a major group. Then I ended up in doing for Nana Caymmi and Dorival Caymmi, which is, quem tem samba vai Rome. And that was amazing. From that experience, I really said, oh, I like this. Is I can combine this with the dance experience. When I arrived in New York, and then comes now SOB's, I was fascinating. Loremil have like a amazing show, and everybody was crazy about him. The music, he using the drumming, the Bahia Afro music. And there was like such amazing experience for two reasons. One, because it's a huge crowd. And second, was like a very good paying gig in New York at that time. It was like a major, still was a very good payment. I was very happy to be out some artists and land such a job. But I think one of the most important thing about that show, Larry, this when I met Howard. He saw me perform with Loremil. And then like think about it. It's like SOB for me is very special. It's not just a club. It's like the place I met the man of my life, the love of my life. And that's like, after there was so many other marriages in my shows, I was able to marry a lot of people. And some of them watched it tonight. And I told them, look, you need to celebrate SOBs. And then after the performance with Loremil, things move on. Then the late 80s, I bring with Tamara Guimarães, one person who always brings a lot of artists. I asked her, I want to bring to SOBs one of the artists from Bahia, which is Paulinho Boca de Cantor. He just arrived in New York. We do a few shows together. in the city, in different, you know, in other states. We did Washington. And then Amara said, look, I'm going to set a meeting with Larry. Paulinho Boca can do the show there. We did the show with Paulinho, late 80s. But nothing was compared the transformation of Brazilian music in New York, you know, because Gloria Mills slowed down then. He started concentrating more in his own capoeira group and the dance company. And then in the 90s, the beginning of the 90s, when I was talking to the manager at the time, which was the Alex Busher wife, Leila. She was like the manager, remember?
Shout out to Leila.
Leila, yeah, Leila was, she was like, you know.
We're gonna do another story with Leila, but
yeah,
go on,
Leila.
sorry.
And then I talked to Leila, then Leila said, Leila, this group come from Bahia. Is a mix of carnival. They call it Cid Guerreiro. Is a amazing artist. They had a lambada, you know, SOB's doing a lot of production lambada. She said, okay, let's do that. Then I brought Cid Guerreiro. Cid Guerreiro have one percussionist, which I end up become friends. And I end up doing dancing with Cid Guerreiro as a dancing backup for Cid Guerreiro in one of the shows he did around New York. This was Tony Molla. Then Tony changed the whole scenery. Tony was like a new era for Brazilian music in New York in the beginning of the 90s because he brought the flavor of percussion to the city. Then he created the Yaquequerê. He was able to bring all the percussionists around, which was Davi, Marivaldo, Nego Gato, all the dancers and musicians. He brought a lot of people together. From that era of Tony Molla, now Tony Molla come back to Brazil, become very successful, and his music here with his group. Then now, when I met 1992, when I met André Santana, then we decided, okay, let's work with my dance company, Viva Brazil. We did a few shows at the SOB's and a few private events. In the past, we did a lot of private events with your clubs. Then André said, you need to go back, start singing again. I said, well, I don't feel to be front. He said, no, you're going to do back off. We're going to create a band. Let's create a band. Then we sit down together. Then we create Catende Band. This was 1995. We create Catende Band. Then we put all the Baianos together. And you saw from that was the explosion of, you know, the Brazilian music in town.
Absolutely.
The Catende Band brought so much activities and things for the club. The second year of Catende Band, André decided to go back to Brazil. Then I told Larry, I need to make the band all over again because André leaving, Robinho leaving. Then you say, look, I give you 1 month for you put your own group, Silvana Magda, with a new Catende Band. And that was a blessing to me because I was able to bring my dancing to a new venue. Then when you call me and say, I really like what you're doing, because what I did was like I incorporate music and dance, like a cabaret style. Then you say, look, let's talk. When you say, let's talk, okay, Larry, I have a proposal to you. SOB going to do a major change. And then I'm going to concentrate this in your show, which are the Samba Saturdays. I said, wow. Then you said, the only problem is it's 3 sets. I said, oh my God, the dancing musician going to kill me, Larry. 3 sets. I said, yeah.
I remember that.
I realized, and Robin was a major part of that. I realized Robin said, you do the dinner show, which is like for the old folks to sit down and get into it. Then the second set, you bring a little flavor with the dance in the stage. And the third set, you go to town with your crazy dance. At that time, I started mixing mapuca or the African dance, which now is a big hit in Brazil, but we did back then. The girl in the very little clothes. Silvana, this had to be the 30 set because remember, SOB closed at 5 o'clock in the morning. And then like when you started the first set, it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. That was like something wild. It was so many beautiful production, Larry. My major thing as an artist, you give me the opportunity to record in 2 CDs in America. I was able to extend my career as not just as a production, but as a composer. You start telling me, okay, people want more from you. You have to come fresh, and you cannot keep in singing other people's songs. You have to do other things. And I concentrate in that, and I start writing my own songs. I have my 2 CDs, and in that was one of the most important things, what we were able to do for the Brazilian music. I appreciate for you give the opportunity for the other festival, Intel Music Festival, the CMG Festival, and then now the original Macintosh Festival. That was like a venue for us to really spending. But right after, with the mix of percussion, then came organs, which is another flavor music, you know. Then all the percussions get together for organs. And then you become the club with very flavor, you know, you have the opportunity for the bossa nova. A lot of artists from bossa nova came there too.
Absolutely.
But the transition for the club, which was more important to me, is like the respect you give to each group. That was very important. It's like we able to, for sure, our ideas, you know, was very rare around, you know, New York is very limited for us because it's Portuguese. But you were able to spend that for us. You know, look at the Intel Music Festival. I don't know even how to thank you for being able to have one of my songs in that festival. It was a CD distributed for over, you know, 100,000 people received. That was an invitation for the International Digital Festival, which your club was the pioneer in that. The magazines, I even posted today, the magazine I was able to be involved with. Also the book about jazz, even though my work was now jazz, but was chosen to be the front folder, the folder of the book. And
Right.
that was another opportunity. But I think one of the most important things when in the 90s, you decided to open for the Brazilian Carnival. I mean, SOB running for 7 years, 3 nights. And Robin was able to help us with all the costumes, all the distribution. We have Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 3 nights carnival every year for 7 years. And that was amazing because nobody was doing that. When I decided and I was invited by Gilberto Mendes to become the coordinator of the Brazilian Day, even though we know all the stories behind, but when I came to you, he asked, Larry, I want to do after party. They're doing the Brazilian Day in the streets, but nobody doing Brazilian Day after party. I came to you, and right away you say, it's done. It's yours. The club is yours. And then look at how we start. We brought the biggest band, which was Banda Eva, with Saulo, which is the major artist from Brazil. And the years go by. I mean, every year for 5 years, we did a lot of after party for the Brazilian Day. And it was very successful. People leave the street to come back to the club to enjoy themselves. Now mention, even though I stopped in doing the work for a while because I was very busy between Brazilian Day and my career as a performer. But when I came to you, say, look, I want to return to SOBs. You say, okay, you know, you just left 3 years, come back. Then 2008, I was able to come back to the show again after stop for 3 years. And you're always very receptive to me. Unfortunately, like, you know, my health, I have the surgery. Remember my 2 surgeries, the vocal cord, I stopped for 7 years. I never thought I was able to get my fan base back to me, and you give me back the opportunity. And then to be able to come back to SOBs 2018, after 7 years out of the music market, I was doing production, which you open up the club many times. For I do the festival, the pageant. Remember when you put it like Miss Brazil at the club?
Yeah.
Robin said, what you do? You put a runway? I say, yes, because I have Fox Television going to do a whole layout about that. But you took the risk. You say, look, I help you the runway. I know you know, you're a small production. You give me the runway. We put the Miss Brazil at the SOBs. Everybody say, wow, a pageant at the SOBs. Yes, SOB is a house for Brazil. If it's Miss Brazil, it's going to be there. And then I even am going to mention how many times, Larry, you give the space for we do like the Canta Brasil festivals, the music festival we did there. And every time you give the club, I don't even mention when we lost the loved ones, how many times you give the club for we can do like a get together for helping like Lori Mill, many others, Janete Bezerra, many others who need like to do a fundraising. You open the door for I do. I feel sometimes like a dinosaur, you know, SOBs, because I'm the oldest there. We fight so many times.
Absolutely.
Fight. We fight. But I tell you one thing. Every fight was a winning, because every time you point out something, I go and rebuild myself and make sure was a new beginning. And that was approved. What you told me last November, I can't believe you have this production again. I said, well, with you, you allow the others to do, but Silvana Magda, you want the top. You do not gonna tell me to come back with a little one. And the one thing you accomplish what you telling me, I need your show be versatile. I was not a bossa nova singer. You making me do bossa nova. And then for that, I have to say this. Só danço samba, só danço samba. Vai, 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 vai. Só danço samba, só danço samba. Vai. Larry, you know, I don't know to say thank you, you know, so much. My life in terms like when I was invited by the Rolling Stones to do the open for the 5th anniversary, I get because people remember you as the artist who do nightclub, who have the experience. And I was able to do so many major events in my lifetime. My 2 CDs, so many awards I received, and there's so many shows I did, and I continue. And I'm looking forward for, as soon as this pandemic goes away, come back to celebrate the 25 years of Katende Band Interrupt performing up to last year. And this year going to be 25 years the show, and we plan to be there, and pretty soon get together because we're going to rock the house. And I want to say something to you. A lot of people follow SOBs. We have someone very important with us tonight. It's Mahon. It's the guys cover everything about Bahia is happening in your club. When he was there in your club a couple of times with me. He was there with the Saulo show, Banda Eva, when Olodum was there. You know, he always cover and give a good cover for everything happened at the SOB. When I told him, look, we're doing a live about SOB, I said, I know the club, I was there. He put an article right away, and we're looking forward to do more. This is what you're doing is very important, and I appreciate. And like I said to you, if you want to ask any question now, you can ask. You know your girl.
All right. we do have a few minutes. I mean, more or less. Can we open this up to anybody asking questions? So let's just see if there's anyone listening that has any questions for you.
Yeah, let me see. I have to put my glass. You know, we all get old. Okay. Okay. Somebody said the Miss de Lavagem. Did you remember when I started doing lavagem? Was the first debut was at the SOB's? I said, Larry, I need to try this thing out. I brought the baianas, I brought the band, and you say, Silvana, this is wild. You bring this whole Batala band from Batala, New York, which is, and it was crazy. They were able to bring, you said, Silvana, 40 percussionists, I'm going to get a ticket. I put everybody outside SOB's. We bring Batala, New York. We put everybody outside, 40 percussionists. Silvana, what are going to fit all these people here? I said, Larry, I have this figured out. Don't worry. We have like 20 baianas to do like a debut for that. But you know, it's always a wonderful to do anything at the SOBs. Thank you, Larry. Thank you so much.
Silvana, I want to thank you. I want to thank, Howard. I want to thank literally, all the musicians, in the past, hopefully all the musicians for the future. You have also made it happen on so many fronts, between being a singer, a dancer, an organizer. As I say to both you and Marivalda, you're true cultural ambassadors, and your positive energy will always be felt. So I have to leave you now because we do have a co-headliner with us. And
okay, I want to say bye. So thanks to all my musicians and dancers who are watching. I'm in Brazil doing an all new composition. We get together with amazing orchestra, you know, Hugo Sambani Orchestra, doing some major project to bring to New York. Also Magari Lord, who doing some Afrobeat. It's a lot of surprise for next year. Thank you, all of you. This is Samba. We miss you, Samba Cat.
Hey, Samba.
Okay? This is Samba Dog.
We love you guys.
Thank you. Love
Take
you.
care.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ciao. So now we're going to introduce Marivaldo.